from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Talking Catholic. I'm Jen Morrow, and today I have a special co-host today.
Oh, very special. Hi, I'm Deacon Dean Johnson. It's great to be with you.
It's so exciting.
As a co-host. I mean, you know.
I know. We've had you on as a guest.
As a guest.
And now you're a co-host.
And now I'm co-hosting, replacing, the venerable Michael Walsh. And I feel like, it's very special sitting in his chair.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
No, wait a minute. I think you're in his chair.
I'm in his chair.
And I'm in your chair.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the roles are a little reversed. But it was very exciting to have you on. Yeah. You are notorious around the diocese. Is that the right word?
Notorious would be good. I would accept that. Infamous.
Yeah. Deacon Dean has a column in the Catholic Star Herald that also is online as well. He writes for the Catholic Star Herald. He has his own podcast.
I do. My full-time job is for Follow South Jersey, which is a local news website. We are a nonprofit, so we focus on very positive stories in communities like Salem, Camden, Bridgeton, things like that. Mm-hmm. And I do have a Follow Salem podcast where we talk about different people doing things, businesses, things like that.
I like it. It's very uplifting.
So it is, yeah, and that's what we go for.
Yeah.
When you hear Salem, New Jersey, people think of crime, poverty, blight, but that's just a minimal part of the town. The town is mostly good people and good things are happening. Same thing with Bridgeton. We're actually starting a Follow Bridgeton podcast. Actually, we're recording this week, the first one. So I'm not hosting it, but I'm helping produce it.
Oh, that's exciting!
So, yeah.
When will that be out?
I think the first recording is going to be tomorrow. So probably the first week of December.
Okay. And if people want to find that, Mike is going to be freaking out because he hates it when we...
Yes, just if you Google follow South Jersey, it's all right there.
All right, all the podcasts. That's right, Mike Walsh. We are promoting another podcast on the podcast.
Yes, exactly. Well, you can listen to... We all listen to multiple podcasts. Exactly. I mean, nobody listens to one podcast. So.
No, for Mike, there can be only one.
So they're
just Talking Catholic.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll tell him not to listen to this one.
Fast forward past the first 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, the first 5 minutes didn't really work out that well, so just start at like the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, exactly. So tell everybody what parish you serve out of.
Church of the Holy Family in Sewell. I've been there for a little over 5 years now, and I've been a deacon for a little over 5 years. So that was my first assignment outside of my home parish.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of Mary Mother Mercy. Shout out to Mary Mother Mercy.
There you go. All parishes can definitely get the shout out. Podcast, but parishes, yes.
Oh, very good. Right.
So what do we got going on around the diocese right now? Thanksgiving is about to come up.
Right.
By the time you listen to this, it will actually
be will have been done. Right.
Done, and the first day of Advent.
Right. Well done, like your turkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I'm actually cooking the turkey this year.
Oh yeah. Is it first time?
No, it's just first time in a while. Usually, my sister takes over, and I'm the person who keeps everybody company.
Okay.
Except I do make my famous, which I've talked about on this podcast before. It doesn't really have a name. It's called just the green seafoam lime salad.
That sounds incredibly awful. I'm sorry.
No, it's delicious.
I'm sure it is.
Wait till you hear the ingredients.
Right.
Ready?
Oh no.
Lime jello, baby marshmallows, cream cheese, and crushed pineapple. And then you basically just put it all together and put it in the fridge for it turns into this delicious mold form.
I look forward to you making some and bringing it to my house.
Oh, okay.
And we will. It'll be delicious.
It is delicious, and I bring it every year. And my stepmom is so nice. She's like, of course you can bring it. I'm not going to eat it, right? I'm like, of course. And she's like, I won't. You're not insulted? I'm like, no, I'm not insulted, but I am bringing it.
But other than your green slime mold, do you have any other traditions?
That's the big one. That's the biggest one. What about you?
No, we have, so years ago when the kids were, I have 5 children, and when they were younger, we would do a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving for breakfast. So we would pop the popcorn, make the toast, make little parfaits, pretzel sticks, and, we would lay that out, and we'd put one of the parades on, and they would, we would eat all that. And now that they are older, my darling wife, Sherry, she was like, well, I don't think we're going to do it this year. And they erupted. They was like, oh no, you have to do it, you know. And now my grandchildren are coming over, and they fully expect it. And so, yeah, we're going to do it again.
That
so
sounds really,
it is very cool.
Really cute.
Yeah, it is very cool.
Oh, I like
and I do cooking too. I cook the turkey.
Okay.
And the stuffing, and and Sherry, keeps me company because that's a job too. Actually being a conversationalist with somebody as they're cooking.
Yes, because it can be nerve-wracking.
Oh, cooking,
so I need somebody to wait, do you have any turkey tips for me? Any special spices you use?
I use a lot of ginger. I put a lot
Ginger?
of ginger and ginger ale, and instead of putting broth with it, I put ginger ale with it, and it gives it like a little bit of sweetness, and yeah, I love it.
Interesting. Maybe I should try that.
Be careful. You got to put just the right amount.
Okay, I'm not trying it. I'm not. I can't be. I already have a bad reputation with my dad and stepmom as not being the greatest cook, but that's only because my sister does it all the time, and
Right.
she's so good.
Right.
But I'm actually not a bad cook at all. So I'm not. But I'm not doing the ginger. I think it's too soon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I would experiment like at a non. Holiday.
Yeah. Fair.
There's too much pressure on the holiday. You got to stick with what you know.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you can play with it later. Yeah.
And you did mention your lovely wife, Sherry.
Yeah.
And she is lovely.
She's very, very lovely, very supportive. She was amazingly supportive when I was in formation.
Yeah.
She actually attended most of the classes with me. So it was really cool for both of us.
That is cool.
Yeah,
and she's a teacher.
And she's a teacher. Yes, she is, at Guardian Angel Regional.
Mm-hmm.
She teaches 5th grade. Another shout out, Guardian Angel Regional. Right. St. Clair of Assisi Parish.
All right, this is the Thanksgiving podcast that is all about shout-outs.
Exactly.
And yet, actually, it's in a shocking twist, this will actually be an Advent podcast.
Yes.
So,
Right.
also giving thanks. So,
Please right in.
all right, so why don't we... is there anything else you want to talk about? Oh, I was just going to talk about I Give Catholic really quick again.
Yeah.
Because this podcast will come out just a few days before the official I Give Catholic, also known as Giving Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many parishes, schools, and ministries across the Diocese of Camden that are taking part in I Give Catholic. So, please consider, it's called, giving back to the parishes, schools, ministries. Catholic Star Herald is part of one for the first time this year. And December 2nd is the actual Giving Tuesday, but opening early giving has already begun. So if you have just a couple of extra dollars in your pocket that you would really want to give to support all of our good work here, we'd really appreciate it. And to do that, you would visit camden.igivecatholic.org. So, all right, that's my official shout out.
Very good.
And now let us dive into this great podcast because we have some pretty cool guests with us today.
We do. And it's all about Advent.
It is.
So that's great. So we have two of our newly ordained deacons. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We'll start with Deacon Barry Steele.
Hi, I'm Deacon Barry Steele.
Yeah, how you doing, Barry?
Good, how are you?
Good.
And what parish are you from?
I'm from St. Teresa Calcutta Parish in Collingswood and Haddon Township,
Nice.
Westmont.
All right.
And then we have Doug Stetser, Deacon Doug Stetser.
Yes, I'm Doug Stetser, newly ordained. I'm now serving at Incarnation Parish in Mantua for the time being until we get reassigned.
Right, so they were waiting,
Yes.
on tether hooks to find out where they're going to be assigned. So that should be coming up.
We hope to find out before December, but who
Yeah,
knows?
so we may get something in the mail this week. Who knows? We'll see.
Oh, wow.
We,
Okay.
Whatever the bishop does, that's what we do. That's what we
We
wait
were
for.
told the official date is like January, right?
Yeah,
Like
we
the
think
beginning of
it's
the year.
January 1st,
yeah,
yeah.
they told us January 1st will be our new assignment. That's when we start.
Oh, okay.
Are you guys-
I
are you
didn't
guys-
know
I'm
that.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just didn't know that. I thought as soon as you guys got ordained, you had a new assignment, but no. Okay. And you were ordained very recently.
October 4th.
Yes.
It's the St. Francis, which is actually the name of our group, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it really worked out. It worked out well.
Yeah.
How did you guys come up with that? How did you choose St. Francis?
We had a list of like 3 or 4, and we voted on them, and the majority won.
Yeah. Well, one of our guys, Paul Goebbels, he brought out St. Francis. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know he was a deacon. I thought he was a priest.
Yeah.
So once I heard he was a deacon, I was like, I gotta really look into this guy. And it's been an awesome name for us, especially since we got ordained on his feast
And you guys,
day.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful,
So it's
wonderful
really, really
opportunity.
cool.
Yeah.
And his story's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what do you mean you have a group? Like there's a group?
Each class
Okay.
chooses, I guess, a patron saint.
Yeah.
A name. We were Saint Benjamin.
Yeah.
He was lesser known, but he was very well known for his tenacity. They threatened him for his preaching. He said, okay, and then went out and started preaching. And then he was martyred because of that. So we found ourselves, our group, we were a very tenacious group. And so, St. Benjamin was our guy.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess if you think about our group, we kind of do match St. Francis.
Yeah.
Kind of grounded,
How so?
We really, I think a lot of us were really focused on experiencing God through other people, which I think I've really learned that a lot through the whole formation process. But really thinking about St. Francis, one of they don't know for sure if he said it, but one of the things attributed to him is, preach the gospel always, if necessary, use words.
Right.
So, like, for me, that's like...
Yeah, that's a lot of what we do.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, I think that's what we've done as a group.
Just the way we live our lives is our experience.
Yeah.
Because all of us are family. All of us have families. All of us, except Barry, I think, are employed or working. So, like, we all have a secular job, and then we just kind of, as we live our lives, as we do our work, we preach Christ.
And Barry, you're retired.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be retired. So I retired, believe it or not, 2019. So it's
Wow.
been
Lucky.
for the military in 2017. So yeah, it's I'm blessed. So my whole thing now is what can I do for my parish at the moment. So
You served in the military?
yeah, I did 20 years in the Air National Guard.
Wow.
A couple years active duty, and then I worked at the federal prison at Fort Dix for 23 years.
Oh boy. Well, thank you for everything you
So,
did.
Yeah, so I think it helped me to, I guess, be where I'm at now.
I was going to say, do you think that was part of your journey to the diaconate?
Yeah, I would. I don't think I would have said. I don't think I would have said that 10 years ago. Because unfortunately, I didn't like my job. So a lot of people love their jobs. It's a profession. It's a way of life. Mine was really just a means to an end, taking care of my family, getting a pension, which I did. So, but looking back, especially working in a prison, where I was for most of the time I was a teacher, so I had a little bit of a different relationship with the inmates. Tough at the time, but looking back, I can see like some of the things I said and did were helpful for some guys, some were not. Some of the stuff that they said and did were helpful for me, and some were not. So I think looking back on that experience, it's try to look at the positives that came out of it. I mean, Christ tells us to visit the imprisoned, right? So I guess I wasn't paying attention at that point that I actually was doing that.
Yeah. It's funny how God does that.
Yeah.
He uses us, and then if you hindsight, they say, right?
Yep.
You look back, you're like, wow. I can look back at certain things. I lost my parents. They were both 56. I was in my mid-20s, and at that time, I was kind of estranged from the Catholic Church. I say estranged. I was kind of falling away. I did fall away. And dealing with my parents' illnesses, once I got back into the church, learned more, and going through formation. I started seeing how I was an instrument of Mary, and it was just like me, like this and this and this, like wow, God was using me in different things, didn't even know it, and I think that's really interesting, and getting that, God reveals Himself, to us, and you get that, those revelations.
It'd be nice if we could figure it out at the time, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? Boy, a lot of problems would have been resolved.
I always figure he has a great sense of humor. So.
I hope he does. I really do.
We make plans, God laughs.
Yeah, exactly. Doug, how about you? What do you do for a living, and how?
I work for a pump company. I was a designer, like a computer designer. But actually, my journey to this, I'm a convert. I actually wasn't raised in the faith. So it all started, I guess, I married a cradle Catholic, my wife Joan. And for the first 10 years, she used to go to her church and I went to mine. And after a while, there was always a lot of things going on in the Catholic Church. There were a lot of ministries, and I'd help out and do a lot of stuff with them. And eventually, I went to mass with her a few times, and then a few more times. And pretty much I stopped going to my church and was going to her church all the time. And I really fell in love with the Eucharist. And I just when I saw the devotion of the priest and the people to the Eucharist, I really decided I wanted that.
Amen.
And that that I had that desire. So I went through what was called RCIA back then, and it's funny. As soon as I was confirmed and brought into the church, the priest right away got me into being an elector and an extraordinary minister, and so that was the start of the journey. So, but eventually, sometimes you get to the point in your faith where you feel like you're kind of just coasting, and I knew there was something more that God wanted from me, and one of the deacons that actually we were going to where we're at now at Incarnation had asked me if I wanted to be a deacon. The first time he asked me, I'm like, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah, I understand.
And a couple years later, he asked me again. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you said yes.
Yeah. So here I am.
Yeah, it's similar. Like, I was, I'd fallen away, and my wife and I were going to visiting different churches, and there was something missing. Now of course I know it was the Eucharist. It was Christ. And then Sherry was like, well, I think let's go back to the Catholic Church, and I'm like, nah. She goes, all right, well, I'm going to go to Mass.
We're good.
She said, I'm going to go to Mass with a friend of mine. And I was like, okay, peace out. And she did. And then I'm like, she started going to Mass. And I'm like, I got to go with her, So I started going back, and I, got into the rhythm. I started doing more reading, learned more than I knew. I thought I knew certain things about the church. I was wrong. I didn't. So she ended up going through RCIA, then OCIA now. And I went to confession. I had about an hour and a half long confession with a priest. It was mostly conversation. Don't look at me like, wait, Jen. It wasn't that bad.
No, I'm just impressed. Like, do you have to schedule an appointment for that?
Yeah, I scheduled an appointment.
Cool.
And I wasn't going to leave people on the line.
I was going to say, so you wait in the line. Like,
people would be knocking on the door.
That was the incredulousness look. That's what that was.
I set up an appointment. We sat in his office. Had a wonderful conversation. And then, almost immediately, I got involved with music ministry, lecturing, and then I had a priest come up to me and say, "Hey, Dean, I think you'd make a good deacon." And I laughed and laughed and laughed. I mean, I belly laughed, because no, that's not me, But what, that seed just starts growing, And I had a conversation with my wife. I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "Go for it. Let's see where it goes."
That's kind of how it was with me.
Yeah, and and the beauty of going into formation is that you can stop at any time, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a process. The Holy Spirit will lead you as far as God wants you to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had two guys in our class here. One was in your class, Edwin,
Yes.
before had to stop.
Right.
Another, Luis, he went for a year or so and had to stop. So my Deacon Leo Horvitz, he had to stop for a little while, and just, it's whatever, wherever you are at the time,
Right.
And sometimes you got to stop for a little while and refocus, and, even if you don't make it to ordination, look at all the stuff that you've gained and grown with through the whole process.
Yeah, the formation you get and what you learn. Yeah.
If you're open to it.
If you're open to it.
Yeah.
So how's the first month been? Tell us about some of your maybe first baptism, first homily, first experiences, Doug.
They've all been really encouraging, really great. My first homily, I was, you're always a little bit nervous about the first thing, but it actually was kind of surreal going through it. It's just looking back, I'm like, wow, that was the word for it. It was very, very encouraging, very grace filled. So I had a great day that day, and got a lot of great comments. So I think everybody was happy that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
I had a little hiccup in my journey. I developed cancer on my fourth year of formation, but I've recovered and doing well since then. So,
Praise God.
But yeah, so
Doug knows what it's like to be like Christ, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all been great. For the first baptism, that I really enjoyed. I've done a baptism, I've done a funeral, I've done a homily. I haven't done a wedding yet. So,
Right. Right.
But the baptisms are a lot of joy there. That's great.
Absolutely a lot of joy. Barry.
I haven't done any of those. I think I'm going to be scheduled for a baptism in December, but excuse me. I think all of us remember our first homily. I'm lucky with Father Bertazzi that every Wednesday he would let me do a reflection because I served during a couple days a week, so I kind of got used to it. And then I had a life-changing experience like 3 days before my first homily. There's a program called Christ in the City. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's in Philadelphia right now, but basically they're a missionary group run by young, like the woman that runs it's 26 years old. And these young missionaries come into different cities and then they walk the same block every day for a year, whatever the weather, and they're just talking to people, getting to know the community. Well, what they do, I think it's every Wednesday, is they have a lunch. So they ask volunteers to come, and what you do is you eat lunch with the people, whoever, and just strike up conversations. And I met this guy named Alfredo, and I talked to him for about a half hour, and I told him even, I said, do you mind if I use this for my homily? I literally changed my entire homily 3 days before, because this guy's story was, it was just unbelievable to me. How, this guy was a homeless man. He was recovering from drugs. He'd been in and out of jail. He hadn't seen his 16-year-old daughter in like 9 or 10 years. And he was so positive and so, he glorified God. And, he said he really wasn't any denomination, but he really just talked about God a lot. And, it's one of those things where, if in like meditation, if we try to think like, look at somebody like they're another Christ, right? So I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, man, this guy is literally changing my heart as I'm sitting here. I couldn't believe it. I was so impressed with this guy, and I'm glad he let me, use his story for the homily. But it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny not funny. Like, isn't it amazing when you meet somebody like that and you're having one of those experiences? You know it. Right? Like, you might not even realize it consciously. Sometimes it's like spiritually you recognize that. And the fact that you took that and were like, okay, wait, I got to start from scratch. This is it.
Yeah, it was like a lightning bolt. It's funny, too, because I always tell my kids, and then like when I taught faith formation, there's not necessarily a lot as young folks we can necessarily do for homeless people, right? You don't have a job. But what you can do, I would always say, is just say hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Yeah.
My name's so-and-so. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And meeting that guy and just sitting with him and eating with him. Sometimes, that sharing of a meal is more intimate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it was really all those. There's like 100 people there, but it was just me and him. So it was really a blessing.
Yeah, shake a hand.
Yeah.
Because they lack touch.
Yeah.
And sometimes my hand's dirty. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think my hand's clean?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
Right.
It's being seen.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you meet somebody who's like, they're not thankful and they're homeless, look at them as Christ. We don't know what's going on in their life at that moment in time.
Yeah, we need that authentic affirmation. Affirm that they are a child of Christ.
Yeah.
They are God's creation.
Get out of my pride, get out of myself,
Yeah.
which is where I like to be, because it's much easier that way.
Yeah.
I think we do. There actually is in Atlantic City, there's a ministry.
The CFRs are down
Yep,
there.
the CFR. They walk with the CFRs.
They're awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met them when I first came to the diocese, and it was the beginning of the Eucharist revival, and so I was on the boardwalk walking with like 1,000 people. I was covering it, but there was like 1,000 people, and there were the CFR sisters and the young people walking with them to do their ministry, and they were just talking to tons of people along the boardwalk, and the people on the boardwalk wanted to talk to them. That's why I'm always afraid of like bothering someone, right? No, they didn't. They wanted to be bothered. They wanted to be spoken to.
Yeah.
They did a mini retreat for us in our formation. I think, is it Sister Joseph? Was that who it was? I think it was Sister Joseph.
I don't remember her name.
But it was really deep and really spiritual. And, just the stories that she would tell us of the people they would meet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, these ladies have a lot of courage.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of courage. Like that's, obviously they're Franciscans, right? They're St. Francis.
Right.
Back to St.
Yeah,
Francis.
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. So we're getting ready. Oh, I don't want to jump ahead
No,
of
go
your
ahead.
questions.
Yeah, I
because
think
we
we
have a lot of
move on
questions.
into
Advent?
Advent. So we need to get to talk about Advent.
We need to talk about Advent.
So tell me how, are you preaching during Advent? Are you thinking of...
I don't know the schedule. Like, we have a schedule that comes out every month.
Right.
Because right now at Incarnation we have got, since me and Mike Dries was also at our...
You have
in
a
our class.
plethora of deacons over there right now.
Yeah. One of us retired, but we have 5 deacons in our parish.
Yeah.
So they put out a schedule so we know who's going to preach when.
Right.
And the schedule for December has not come out yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure I only preached once last month, so I'm sure I'll be scheduled to preach this.
I
one
got
of these
the
weeks.
I got the third weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be
Third
scheduled.
Sunday.
Deacons and ours do the third Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, ours is usually first and third Sunday, so
Okay.
it'll be the first or the third Sunday.
Right. Any thoughts?
I haven't even looked at it yet.
Yeah.
Because
Haven't looked at the readings yet?
Yeah, no, because I'll have a homily for this Wednesday, so I'll start on that tonight. And then once I'm done that, I'll kind of start prepping for
But
that.
what do you think the parishioners need to hear about Advent? What do they need to be reminded of, or what needs to be revealed to them during the Advent season, as opposed to ordinary time?
I mean, Advent's what? Joy, peace, love, and there's 4 things.
Come on, it wasn't that long ago you graduated.
That's all gone now. We're done playing.
Yeah, exactly. There's one of those.
I'm just a lowly journalist. I don't have to remember that, but come on, guys.
So it'll be probably one of those subjects. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've been really thinking about when I was doing the Joyful Mysteries.
That's the other one.
Hope.
Sorry.
There you go.
Love boys join
I
hope.
was doing the
You lost
Joyful
hope.
Mysteries today, and the Annunciation. So, that would have already happened, right?
Right.
Since we're coming up to Advent, etc. So I've been really thinking about being incarnational, the incarnation. How now that we just celebrated Christ as the King of everything.
Right.
The last Sunday, right?
Right.
Because somebody asked me the other day, why we do this? I said, well, look, we're ending with him as the King, and now we're beginning with him as the little small King, who so humbled himself to come. I mean, he could have came as a man if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Right.
He could have done exactly what the Jews thought,
Right.
and he could have came in power. But he came as a humble little child, and so part of I think Advent is that waiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But part of it is also trying to get closer to the incarnational mystery that really comes to fulfillment in the Ascension. So, I think part of my focus, and we'll see what the readings are for that third Sunday, of course, but just kind of focusing on the incarnational aspect of Christ, what it means for us as Catholics, what we should be thinking about, why it's so important.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I was going more towards the waiting part. Like we have to have patience, and that's greatly needed in society today. Nobody has any patience because everything's so instant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instant gratification is everything.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just look at our technology.
with technology, exactly. So I think everybody needs to learn patience.
Which is a very, very difficult thing to lead. And they say, like, be careful of what you ask for, and then God's going to put you in situations where you're going to absolutely need patience.
Yeah. It's like almost every week. I'm sure every week I'm like, okay, God, it's like, why don't you just come now? We're ready. I'm ready.
Yep. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Well, before formation, I was impatient 99% of the time, but now after formation, I'm probably impatient 90% of the time.
That's great.
So, but another guy in our program, Charlie, he gave me some good advice because I always say I need patience. He said, pray for perseverance. That will help you get patience. So that kind of actually changed it a little bit for me, because I would always pray for patience, not thinking what you just said. God's going to put me in, like, if you pray for it, watch out.
Right.
He's going to put me, and so then I think to myself, well, I'm woefully failing. But if I think of it as perseverance, I don't know, try to look at some of the small victories maybe, and then look at some of the defeats and then try to overcome them.
Yeah, every time you feel frustrated, just look at Christ on the cross, and he persevered.
Yeah,
So-
right. The waiting is a significant part of Advent, but I see it as definitely the patience, but also active waiting. You're not just sitting doing nothing. You're actually doing something. So we're going to confession because it's a lesser penitential season, not to the level of Lent, but it is a penitential season. So you still want to be giving alms. You still want to be, even fasting, praying, doing something, an active. It's funny. I think about, and I wrote about this years ago, I think. The Toy Story, not Toy Story, I'm sorry, the Christmas Story, the movie that you have never seen.
Thank you.
You've never seen it?
I know, it's crazy.
terrible.
Oh, my goodness.
So
It's
this,
on 24 hours.
I know.
on Christmas
I
Eve,
know.
right? It's on nonstop, right?
Nonstop.
So this might not work for you, but Ralphie wants this BB gun, and so but he's waiting, for Christmas and hoping to get it. But in the meantime, he puts hints, he puts ads in his parents' magazines, and he gives subtle hints at the the breakfast table, and he goes to Santa Claus. So he's actively doing something while he's waiting. So we need to actively, this is not just sitting around and not just preparing for Christmas, which we're all doing. We can't avoid that. But as we're doing it, let's not forget that we're also waiting for the second coming of Christ, which is the first part of Advent, and then the commemoration of the birth of Jesus would be the second part of that. So I think we need to keep that in our forefront of our mind.
I like your line of thinking. I'm reading something by Bernard of Clairvaux, and he says that love is about movement. It's action.
Yeah.
I can say I love you, right? And I might, but it's the action that shows the love.
Right.
And so that's, I think, also part of Advent. When you talk about that action, what's happening each Sunday as we go through in our preparation, and we're kind of like building upon the last one. And I'll go back to the rosary with the visitation. Even today when I was praying it, Bishop Barron, one of his reflections for the visitation is that she was given, the first part of discipleship is movement. As soon as she went with haste to the hill country to see Elizabeth. Yeah. Immediately she moved and she went. And what I love about Bishop Barron is he calls that the theodrama. It's being directed by God. It's not the ego drama, which is me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do what I need to do. Mm-hmm. So, and that's all about movement and going out and trying to forget myself if I can, or at least the prideful parts.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do. Especially, it's so ironic that we are called to quiet, to patience in the busiest time of the year secularly.
Right.
No, you got to hurry up. You got to hurry up and get these presents. You got to hurry. No, we have to slow down.
There were Christmas ads before Halloween this year. Talk about speeding up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Look at the stores.
Oh, yeah.
They already had their displays up, before Halloween.
Right. So
try to buy Halloween candy a day before Halloween. Forget about it.
Oh yeah, forget about it.
You're stuck with giving out dum-dums. And the kids give you a look like.
Thanks a lot. So, what are some tips that you would have for people who, might have trouble slowing down? Do you have any practical advice for patients? Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
That's hard. We've started to try and take the Sunday rest day a little more seriously. Like, try not to schedule things on Sundays. Try not to be so active. Like, take a moment to just rest, or do some spiritual reading, or just not be so busy. Because there's. It's like I think somebody wrote a book about the relentless pursuit of Harry or something like that it talks about that.
Right.
It's just everybody's always in so much of a hurry. I think it's a society, it's technology, everything. Like I said earlier.
Well, getting back to your patience. I remember back in the 90s. Back in the 90s.
Those were the days.
They weren't they great?
It's good music.
I had AOL and dial-up. And so I would have a book. Exactly.
People don't know what that is anymore.
I would literally have a book, and I would, wait for the login, and then I would, put in where I want to go, and then I would sit and read, because it would take 5-6 minutes to fully load a page. And I would go, okay, I found what I wanted, and then I would go to the next page and start reading my book again. Now, if it's not instantaneous, I feel like, ripping the computer apart. So I think, we've been socialized into this, and it's hard to stop and say, wait a minute, One of the things I've done was shut off my radio when I'm driving. Just get that one bit out, and then pray. I had it years ago. I used to do the rosary all the time while commuting to work, and let me tell you, it calmed my commute down a lot. I wasn't yelling at drivers as much. It's hard to yell at somebody when you have a crucifix in your hand and you're open communication with the Blessed Mother.
Excuse me, Mother, but what the?
Exactly. Yeah,
I might have done that before.
Cover your ears, Mom.
You idiot.
Yeah, but find little things. That you can do. I know for right now, if you open my computer, you're going to see so many tabs. You'd laugh. I mean, there's so many tabs open. Start closing our own tabs.
Yeah.
You know,
So start closing our own tabs?
Yeah. I mean, how many tabs do you have open right now?
A lot.
You know, I mean, we're doing this podcast right now, but you're probably also thinking about the deadline you have. You have an issue coming out this Friday, right? Is it
Yeah,
this
it's
Friday,
print
right?
tomorrow. Yeah.
Right. So you're already thinking about what you're doing after here, as opposed to being like in this moment.
Don't call me out.
Intentional,
Jeez.
you know? It's written all over your face, Jen, you know? I mean, you're making notes. These notes aren't for the podcast.
No,
These
they
notes are for what
are.
you're going to be
No, they
doing after
are.
the podcast.
These are notes from the podcast that I'm going to put in the paper. So look, I'm...
So, see, yes,
Multitasking.
you are. You
You're right,
are.
I am. Oh, no. Oh, no, you're right. But these are good practical advice. Turn off the radio, do the rosary, try not to schedule things on Sunday.
Go to adoration. Now, there is a plus to being a deacon. When you have a key, you can go do adoration whenever you want. And when you're retired, I can go over a lot of time if I want. But my spiritual advisor is Father Gormley, who is awesome, by the way. But every time we meet, how many times have you been to the Eucharist? Have you gone to adoration? No, Father. Yeah. I mean, and so I started doing that a lot more lately, probably like 3 to 4 times a week.
Wow.
Oh, that's great.
Sometimes for an hour, sometimes because he even said to me, he goes, full disclosure, I live like 48 steps from my church. In my house. So, I mean, so when he's telling me you're not going to see the Eucharist, but you live right next door.
Right.
So as I'm sitting in my backyard looking, I'm like, yeah, I could be doing some of my studying or reading over there with Christ. And then, even if there's people around, it's usually very quiet.
Yeah.
So my advice is just, it's hard. Like I struggle with it because I'm in my own head. So now, a lot of times, but I feel like it's part of the process. I'll go through a whole bunch of stuff and then all of a sudden I'll be like, finally calm down a little bit more quiet. And then I'll be like, okay, he knows I'm a complainer. So I'll be complaining and grumbling. And then maybe when I get, out of my system maybe, then just set a timer for 10 minutes and do nothing for 10 minutes. And then once you can do that, then you go to 15 minutes, and eventually, this is where I'm at. I'm at about a half hour now to try to get, just the timer helps.
Yeah.
Because it also is a hindrance, because I'll get 20 minutes in and I'll be like, I wonder how much time I have left. Now, but then I turn the clock off and then I'm done for the moment. But, when you're in front of Jesus, you're almost forced to just focus on him.
Yeah. And parishioners can even go into the church. Most churches are open during the daytime hours.
Well, we have adoration every Thursday.
And sit before the tabernacle, though, and just be that close to Christ. I mean, one of my favorite things to do, and again, the benefit of being a deacon, like after a baptism, I'm locking up the church, shut off all the lights, and then just sit in the front pew. Pray and just sit quietly before Christ. It's beautiful. But it's another Advent activity you could do. Find out when your church is open, like literally, the doors are open. Go in, sit quietly, meditate upon Christ, meditate upon the second coming of Christ. Being prepared. We prepare for Christmas. I mean, we go crazy preparing for Christmas. What are we doing to prepare for eternity? Eek. So. That would be a nice, thing. When you're running off to the store to pick up something, run by the church.
Yeah.
Sit quietly for a few minutes.
That's a good point, because Advent is about eschatology.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, absolutely.
It really is about.
Yeah. The end times.
Preparing us for the end times. We don't know when it's going to happen.
Right. And being prepared.
Yeah.
What are we doing to prepare ourselves? Everybody very easily will tell you what they're doing to prepare for Christmas. I mean, we're already on Amazon, popping things and, getting stuff and telling, my wife, don't look at this, don't look at the orders, things like that. We actually order from 2 different places so that we're not stepping over each other. Because everybody orders now. I mean, Well,
the funny part is now that we mostly order and don't go to the stores, so then how are we occupying our time? At least if you're out shopping with your wife or your kids or whatever, you're with
people
together, you're having a good time, but now you just sit
sit on a computer and
those 2 hours of shopping
Yeah.
can be done in 10 minutes.
Right.
So
Right.
then what are we doing with our time?
There's no excuse.
That's a great point.
To
Yeah.
spend more time with the Lord.
And I have all the excuses, by the way, of why not to. You know, so, but I think that's important for us to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially homilies. Father Bert and Ozzy will often add confession into the homily. I told them, do that.
Yeah.
Parishioners need to know that priests, deacons need to go to confession.
Absolutely.
It helps to humanize it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard this from Bishop Barron on the weekend or somebody else, but I just heard yesterday about putting Christmas decorations on the lawn, and they were saying, yes, put as many Christmas decorations as you can on the lawn as possible, because it shows it's an evangelization tool in itself.
Oh, yeah.
To show that you're, preparing for something
Yeah.
monumental to be coming. And I never heard of that before. Like, I like that idea. I turned to my husband and said, so do you want to decorate that? Do you want to put the lights up?
Yeah, we always put a major scene out front.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I never thought about that as an evangelization tool, but it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Well, that word monumental, that really hit.
Yeah.
It is. Really is a monumental occurrence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It changed the entire cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about for kids? Any advice you think for helping kids get prepared? Like you guys have kids or that have been young at one point?
My kids are grown, but just it's not just Santa Claus. It's Christ. Read the Christmas story. You can't just talk about Frosty the Snowman and Santa Claus.
Well, you still got to watch all of them, though, still.
Yes.
We've already seen them.
Yes, that's right.
You got to watch them all.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And Heat Miser's my favorite.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, like read the Christmas story. Make sure they know what Christmas is really about.
Yeah. But you can also pull out the themes. I mean, there are absolutely, themes of Catholic value in, like you were saying, Barry, the Santa Claus, the Rudolphs, the things like that,
Yep.
So, like, as the kids are watching, say, oh, you know what? This reminds me of, something else. Do you guys have Advent wreaths in your home?
Yeah.
When my kids were younger, or we still do it now, but we would assign the kid to do the prayer. And if people don't know, there's prayers for each candle,
Right.
and you can easily Google Advent candle prayers, and you can find a lot of really good prayers, short prayers. I mean, it's not like there's longer and shorter prayers, but we would have the kids. Sometimes they would fight over who's reading. So that's
a good
nothing about
problem to
nothing about the
have.
joy of the season. When kids are at each other's throat because they want to read the prayer. But that is always that's always cool.
I know a lot of parishes also have like wreath making events, so that families can come together and make the wreaths together.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's out of actual garland, but sometimes it's also like construction paper or twigs. And I always thought that was a really great idea too.
Yeah.
Especially like also being kind of a convert to the faith in a way. Like I didn't grow up with that, so as an adult I really learned about the Advent wreath.
I didn't grow up with it either. I mean, I'm a cradle Catholic.
Right.
I was elapsed probably from maybe senior year, and then up until probably mid-20s. But even growing up, we didn't have an Advent. I mean, we participated and went to church, but not the additional stuff.
It wasn't until I worked here that I realized there was a method to the candle lighting.
Oh, right.
Oh, no.
Purple, pink, purple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Father Robert Hughes, if you were listening, I told you many times, if that is the only thing I learned in my years at the Diocese of Camden, it will be that there is an order to the candles.
Which one really first?
Yeah, our faith is so rich in tradition, lower T tradition, not capital T tradition. Why not participate in all of that? Get the Advent candles. I often tell people I do baptism prep, and I talk about baptismal promises, and I'm like, well, we live our Catholic faith, 24/7. If somebody walked into your house and they looked around, would they say, "Oh, you're Catholic"? Would they know it? And if they wouldn't, then start thinking about your Catholic identity.
It's funny you said that. I don't remember who said this to me a couple of years ago, or maybe I read it. It said, if somebody drove by your house, would they know you're Catholic? And I was like, oh man, let me get a Blessed Mother out there immediately.
Yeah.
Like literally, I was like, I need to put that out because my house always has skeletons in front of it. We have a 12-foot skeleton. We got about 10 other ones. My wife, for the last 15 years, has always dressed the skeletons up every season. The kids in the neighborhood love it. And so, like, she'll have it set up for Thanksgiving. We have a giant Santa hat and a giant suit for the skeleton. So we have a lot of fun with the holidays.
Yeah.
So, but I like what you said about that. If you go in the house, somebody know you're Catholic. But I even like if you drive by the house.
That's even better.
Yeah,
and that's evangelization.
Yeah.
You know, having a Blessed Mother, you know, a Saint Francis.
Well, I just got him.
Yeah.
So now I have the Blessed Mother and Saint Francis in front of my house.
Amongst the skeletons?
Yes, in fact.
I'm driving by your house.
In fact, over Halloween,
Totally
we had
driving by your house.
skeletons right in front of the Blessed Virgin. But she's all right. She knows how to handle it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, we have a Blessed Mother, we have a Saint Francis, and we also have a small flag of Divine Mercy, which I love Divine Mercy.
Well, that's my favorite.
So
Oh,
you can
Love Divine Mercy.
keep my Christ and Christmas sign I put up every year. I need to find it somewhere in the basement. I don't know.
Yeah, you got time.
I got a little bit of time.
You got a couple days. By the time this comes out, it should be in the wall.
Yeah, probably this weekend. I'm probably gonna hang lights while the weather's still not like crazy cold.
Right,
So,
before it gets up.
Yeah.
So are you, as new deacons, are you looking forward to preaching for Advent?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be like there's a lot of opportunity to preach about. So, a lot of good subjects, a lot of good themes. So, yeah, and usually there's more people in church this season, so there's more people to preach to.
Yeah, true. More opportunities to evangelize.
Yes.
And that's something I've always heard about, like funerals, baptisms, all of that, is that they're good weddings, good opportunity to evangelize,
yes.
especially for those who may have never stepped into a Catholic church before.
Right.
Yeah.
Always like put that little hint in there, like, hey, we're here every week.
Yeah. If you liked it this Sunday, try next Sunday.
Right, yeah.
Well, what our previous pastor, Father Evans, I know he does it at his parish, what he used to do, and we still do it, is if we have a funeral, wedding or baptism, we'll say we're going to have a special mass for this person on this Sunday, and then we'll set up a spot for him to sit. So if family wants to come back for the mass for that, or like this past Sunday, yesterday we celebrated 2 baptisms that happened, so we, in our intentions, and that they had people come in with them. So now we're talking to other people who may not even be from our parish. Maybe they're Catholic and haven't been to church in a while. Right. Maybe they're not.
Yeah, any of those opportunities to evangelize, knowing when either non-Catholics or not regular, churchgoers are coming in, for like baptisms, for example, great opportunity, to evangelize. Ash Wednesday, more people go to church on Ash Wednesday than I think they do on Christmas and Easter.
Yeah.
It's amazing for a non-holy day, especially.
Yeah, I mean, we have standing room only, a mass, 2 services. All of them are filled. It's truly amazing.
Everywhere.
But and then that's a great opportunity to give that to evangelize.
Yeah.
Well, there were some people I know who were complaining. They were like, people just go to get their ashes, and I said, yeah, but they got ashes, and everybody can see it, so they know they're Catholic.
And then they're walking around, and
they might say, what does that mean?
Exactly.
Why are you getting that?
Yeah. And talking about that meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those who like we all have family and friends, and somebody might say, so what is Advent, right? And how would you explain that? I asked because I was trying to do this the other day, and as I was talking about it, I was like, all right, that was pretty lame, Jen. I feel like you could have done a lot better than that. I know what it is, and I was like, that was really lame. So how would you describe it?
Well, like Barry said earlier, there's 2 parts to it. It's the waiting for Christ to come as a baby, but there's also waiting for Christ to come at the end of time. So there's 2 parts to it. So but really it's all about waiting. Yeah.
And I would say with the waiting part, it's how we wait.
Yeah.
Like, are we worried about getting the Christmas shopping done?
Right.
And then at the end of the day, I'm glad that was over with. Or are we doing the Christmas shopping, and then are we taking time for God? Now, we've been trained a little bit how to do that, going through formation and everything.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is maybe other people haven't. So we have to be able to communicate to other people how to prepare.
Yeah.
Like prepare ourselves, prepare our family, but not only to prepare for the birth of Christ, but for the when he comes again, if we're lucky enough to be here for that. We need to be ready spiritually. And I think if we're spiritual ready for something, we're going to be ready in other ways as well. Mind, body, spirit, I think is like a trinity. I think of the trinity, mind, body, spirit. If we can get all three of those somehow in sync, which is very hard.
Yeah. Think about this. If, let's say, your grandparents are coming over, or your mother-in-law is coming over, right? And they're like, okay, we're going to come over in a few weeks. What do? You clean your house, right? You don't just, throw the dirt under the rug. You really clean, right? Because they're going to come in. They're going to look at you. They're probably going to be a little judgy, of your house, So that's what we do at Advent. We know Christ is coming. So we need to clean our house.
I like his answer better than mine.
And cleaning that house is why this is a penitential season, because we want to then, look at ourselves. Go through an examine or something, examining your conscience, go to confession. That's cleaning your house. Getting ready for Christ. Wow. I mean, imagine, if you knew that Christ was going to walk through that door, in 10 minutes, what are you going to do? Right? Well, we should always act like Christ is coming through that door in 10 minutes or less. So I think Advent is that waiting, the patience, but it's also being that big preparation. And we should constantly be cleaning our house, our spiritual house,
If you're looking at the house and you're like, oh man, there's no way I can ever clean this up. What's some quick basic?
Move for sale.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
what are some quick steps? That can be really overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And I do like this house analogy a lot.
And small steps.
Yeah.
Small steps. And don't ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. There are ministries in parishes that can help you clean that, again, spiritual house.
Yeah.
They'll talk to a priest, set up an appointment, talk to them. Barry mentioned he has a spiritual advisor. There's no reason, because priests, deacons have spiritual advisors, but lay people can have spiritual advisors.
Yeah. Talk to your pastor.
Talk to your pastor.
Yeah.
I thought the diocese at one point had a list of people who were available as spiritual advisors. I don't know if they still do.
I believe they still do.
I think they still do. So get that help. There's apps out there. The Hallow app, for example, fantastic. To help you clean that house. Don't beat yourself up, because then you're going to start getting down on yourself. But try, small steps. I mean, you can't clean a whole house at once. Yeah, you got to start with a room.
I have some advice. I'm a type A personality. I'm a father and a husband. So guess what? I can do everything. I have all the solutions. I can take care of every problem that my kids and my wife and I have. And then I woke up, right?
Right.
What it took for me with this situation is to actually say, I'm not good. I'm not worthy. I can't do it on my own. There's no way that we can get to heaven on our own. There's nothing we can do to earn it, right? But to me, realizing that is like, okay, wait a minute. I can't do any of that stuff on my own, clearly, because I mess everything up. And I'm the supreme knucklehead if I try to do it myself. And it's not always successful, but sometimes you just sit back and you just say to yourself, I give up. I give it all to you. I know that's like a cliche from when we were growing up, give it up, give it up. I'm not saying it in that way. What I'm saying is just in your own mind, in your own heart, just say, God, right now at this moment, I can't do it. I need help. And I think that for me opened me up more to be able to count on God. Because once you start realizing the Holy Spirit working, you have to be willing to find it, right? So once you realize it, and it doesn't always happen, I can't always realize it, but then I feel more joyful, less stressed out. I feel like I can get by with whatever I'm doing better. Especially if I communicate to my daughters. I have 18-year-old twins and a 22-year-old daughter. So, I got to be careful how I communicate.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that is fantastic advice.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice to go out on.
Yeah.
Because, God listens to us. He hears us. And if we're not strong enough, or I don't even mean that. If we don't think we're strong enough, just go straight to the source and say,
well, we aren't strong enough.
help me.
Realize you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's part of it.
That's a good point.
You can't do it
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
your own. Like you have friends, you have a spouse, you have kids. Like everybody help. We're in community, like the Trinity. Think of it that way. The Trinity is a community. Well, we're made in a community. We can't do it by ourselves.
Right.
You gotta pray.
Gotta
Yeah,
pray.
Just gotta pray.
Good. Well, thank you guys all so much for coming on the
Thanks for the
podcast.
invite.
You're welcome back
thank you.
anytime. There's
Thank
a
you.
lot of good meat in this one. Good,
Yeah.
good meaty
We can
one
keep.
for right after
I'm looking forward to the
Thanksgiving.
conversation after the conversation.
There you
There you go.
And as always, thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We wish you already the best of Thanksgiving weekends and a prayerful start to the Advent. And we'll be back soon. Take care, everybody.